Hey, what is going on with y'all, man? Look, we back with another video, man. Y'all already know what's going on, all right? And we here to talk about Kobe today. As y'all can tell by the title of this video, we're here to talk about mostly the Boule Society, the Black Boule Society, the origins of the Boule Society and its history, its conception, however you want to word it, right? Now, I am really glad I found this podcast, right? What's the name? The channel is Apollo the Original. And he did an episode with Bishop Larry Gators, if I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. Now, this guy is probably the most well versed on the Boule Society that I myself have ever heard. He's a great source for information for a lot of different topics, but specifically, he goes in and he covers this, he covers the entire spectrum of the Boule Society. Anything you want to know about it, he has it for you, right? So he goes in mostly about Kobe Bryant's death, his connection back to being a Prince Hall Mason, being a part of the Boule Society. He talks about LeBron James, P. Diddy, Jay-Z, all of the people that we have pretty much, known about being a part of this society. Kamala Harris and the Nine Divine. A lot of different people. I even think Barack Obama has links back to the Boule, if I'm not mistaken. Man, the topic is deep. Like I said, the channel, if y'all want to watch the entire interview, it's great. Loads of information. Apollo the Original is the channel. I'll link it in the description. So when I do these videos, I know y'all be getting on me, so I'm trying to make sure I link these channels where we are, reacting to some of this content, right? Like I said, I'm very happy I found this because I've never actually done a video about the Boule. I think we've touched on it here and there throughout the time I've been on YouTube, but not like this. Bishop Larry is one of those guys where you don't need to do much talking. He's going to explain it, a lot better than me pulling up some articles and going over, certain things. That's why I said, glad I found it, man. I think you guys will definitely enjoy this one. This may be a two-part because there's a lot of information. Now, if y'all remember, we've talked about Kobe Bryant's death multiple times, as far as LeBron knowing that he was going to be sacrificed, as far as LeBron passing him in points all time the night before Kobe died. The cartoon that predicted Kobe Bryant's death to the T, that tweet that went viral. Remember, there was a tweet I had on my channel from like 2012. Maybe if I go back in my vids or in my pics, I can put it on the screen. Y'all remember though, there was a tweet somebody said in 2012 that Kobe was gonna die from a helicopter crash or something like that, right? I gotta find it. A lot of people thought it wasn't real, but it was a real tweet. Um, so much, man. So much stuff. The cartoon might have been the biggest as far as his death being predicted, planned, if he's even dead to begin with. The entire things that he had going on with the pharmaceutical industry. There is a lot of information and predictive programming about Kobe Bryant's death and, unfortunately, his daughter, right? Very, very deep situation, um, and quite possibly one of, I would say, the biggest manipulations to ever happen as far as someone dying. Like this has to be, you know, this is one of the biggest tricks in the book out there. And I don't think it's still quite solved. But y'all can see LeBron with the giant Boule logo on his chest. But anyways, y'all, I'm not gonna keep talking. We're gonna go ahead and jump into the first clip. Now I've already, pretty much outlined this for y'all. We're gonna get into the beginnings of the Boule, and we'll just, gradually go on. And yeah, man, it's pretty interesting. So we'll go ahead and check this out, y'all. I'll come back and we'll talk about it some more. All right.
Brother Apollo, I've been on a goal, a quest to uncover what I believe one of the greatest global cover-ups in history. In order to understand the foreground as to why Los Angeles has never gotten over Kobe Bryant, we have to first examine the background of Kobe Bryant, beginning with a really unknown secret society to a lot of Americans called the Boule Secret Society. Now, to your listeners, the Boule Secret Society is a Black Skulls and Bones organization that started on May 15th, 1904 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
1904.
1904, with Rockefeller money.
Of course.
Through John D. Rockefeller. And it was John D. Rockefeller who created the term the talented 10th, that 1 out of 10 African-American men and women would be chosen by the system in order to represent not the masses of Black people or the Black diaspora, but to represent the system that has put them into enslavement to this very day. And so the Boule Secret Society actually goes back nearly 5,000 years during Greek antiquity, even going up to the time of Aristotle, Plato, and Socrates. So the term Boule is a Greek Hellenistic term, meaning they are the advisors to the king. They protect the crab barrel system. They're not the masters of the crab barrel, but they are the Boules, the foremans of the crab barrel. So the term Boule simply means they are the guardians, the gatekeepers of the Greek parliament. Again, this is going back nearly 5,000 years. And later, the Roman Empire had chosen unique men and women out of a nation that we call Africa today. And a lot of people don't know this, but as a quick side note, the term Africa is not the name of the original continent. It is not. The name of the original continent, the mother continent, is called Alkebulan, right? Capital Alkebelun, Alkebulan. It means, it's a Coptic word meaning the Garden of Eden. So Alkebulan was changed by a 5-star Roman general by the name of Leo Scipio Africanus, who during the Second Punic War in 202 BC defeated Hannibal in Carthage, which is present-day Libya and Tanzania, and changed the name of the continent from Alkebulan, which is actually a Coptic term meaning the Garden of Eden, to Africanus, which is Africa today. And later on in history, there was a second man by the name of Leo or Louis Africanus, whose real name was Abin Muhammad Hassan, who was born in Grenada, Spain in 1494, whose family was amongst the first slave traders who occupied all of Western, not just Western Spain, but all of what we call Africa today. They were slave traders. So anytime a Roman Empire family or even an Arabic Empire family would conquer a land, many times they would change the name of that land from its original name, like Alkebulan, okay, which means the Garden of Eden, to Africanus, which is Africa today. And 90% of the names of the countries in Africa are named after some Greek, Roman, Portuguese, German, or Dutch family.
All right, y'all. So just from the jump, you can already tell, we're getting a history lesson and really uncovering the entire landscape, basically, of the Boule and its origins. And like he said, it goes back thousands of years as far as the true history. Now, like I said, this is going to be a very interesting video. I'm not going to talk long right here at all because I want to jump right into the next section of this video. I wanted to play that one first to give us a little background. You know, we almost getting a real history lesson here. He even went into the origins of the name Africa and how, you know, the continent became Africa and its original name. I thought, you know, that was very important to listen to because a lot of people don't actually know that information. I myself, I didn't know the information until I listened to this video, and a pretty simple search will confirm what he's saying. But as he said, the Boule was started in 1904, and I'm not sure if that was here completely in America, but he goes in on it a little bit more. And the family who actually funded the Boule, you'll find it all to be pretty interesting because, you know, these families are discussed in a lot of topics that we've talked about on the channel and that circulates throughout every possible conspiracy or truth that we usually come across, right? So I'm not going to talk too long right here. I just want to keep it going, jump right back into the information. It's very interesting, y'all. Check this out.
So simply, we've been lied to.
Correct.
And so the Boule Secret Society, so as we kind of amalgamate the two to one, the ancient Boule Secret Society, their logo, Apollo, is very interesting. A half male, half female, which represents the sexual disorientation of the Boule, okay, in promoting the LGBTQ community to this day. So a half male, half female with breasts and half lion with this left paw on a skull. That's the ancient Boule logo going back 5,000 years. Now, the present day logo is the same entity, but its right paw is on what we call an urn, URN, which they keep the ashes of dead people. So when you connect the term skull urn or urn skull to your listeners on Google Images, it's connected to Luciferian witchcraft. It's connected to witches and warlocks wearing necklaces around their neck or around their wrists or ankles with the ashes of their dead loved ones. So when we study the life of Kobe Bryant, who eventually became a member of both the Thelema Secret Society and the Theosophical Secret Society, and also Kobe Thelema, yes, Lester Crowley, yes, in the Theosophical Secret Society, right, with Elena Blavatsky out of Germany, who immigrated to New York City in the early part of the 1900s. And so Kobe Bryant, prior to his rape case, was not a member of any secret society, not the Thelema Secret Society, not the Theosophical Secret Society. And Kobe later on, we'll bring this up later, after his rape case in June of 2003 in Eagle, Colorado, Edwards, Colorado. All of a sudden, he gets all these tattoos, and he's a member of both the Thelema Secret Society and the Theosophical Secret Society, including the Boule Secret Society. Okay, he was a Prince Hall Mason. So to your listeners, when you delve into the history or the origination of the Prince Hall Masonic Order that I'll go into depth later on, you cannot be a Boule unless you are a Prince Hall Mason. So going back to this background of the Boule Secret Society in order to understand the foreground as to why Kobe Bryant was unalive and taken out. So the Boule Secret Society's original logo, going back 5,000 years, half male, half female, half lion with this left paw on a skull. The present day logo of the Boule Secret Society, which they are now headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia, is the same entity, but with this right paw on an urn. So when you connect the words skull urn or urn skull, it represents that the Boule Secret Society, their task is to be the gatekeepers of Black America in the Black diaspora. And there's over 150 chapters of the Boule Secret Society throughout the United States, throughout the Caribbean, throughout Eastern, Central, and Western Europe. They have absolutely, Brother Apollo, no connection to the masses of the Black diaspora, either here or throughout the world.
Now, the reason I had this picture up, which I've talked about this in one of the Kobe Bryant videos I did, he wore the number 33 when he was in high school, right? And maybe this was a little bit of predictive programming. Not sure. We also talked about Kobe Bryant being a complete facade. Kobe Bryant not being his real name. Remember, Kobe didn't only speak English. I think he was like fluent in Italian or whatever, right? We talked about that interview where one of like the news reporters or something called him by the name of Nick. I know a lot of you remember that, and I think I had the clip in the video that I did. It's kind of hard to find these days, but it's still out there, right? Still out there. We all know what that number 33 represents. And Bishop Larry says that after his R case back in 2003 in Colorado, not surprised that it happened in Colorado. We know so much psyop military type cover-ups come out of Colorado. It's unbelievable. But um he said he started to get all of these tattoos. He joined the Thelema Society. I thought that was very interesting. Never heard that before. And we all know Thelema Society, the Thelema religion, that is Aleister Crowley, everything. As soon as I heard that, my mind was blown. But it made sense because there are certain steps, the initiated have to take. Remember, he said, you cannot be a Boule unless you are a Prince Hall Freemason. It makes sense that you're a part of the Thelema Society because you have to know and understand the rituals. You have to know how to contact these spirits that help them do all of the things that they do. You know, maybe this was some giant ritual, his death, and this was practice. It was led up to be the way that it was in 2020. We all know what was going on, in 2020. The timing was, my God. Think about the timing, y'all. We have to think about the timing of what was going on in the world at that time. Everyone was in this one place on the internet. Then this happens. And he is a member of this, which LeBron has giant tattoo on his chest. You can see that paw on the urn. Remember, he said this is the updated logo. Goes back 5,000 years as far as ancient history of the Boule, who are now headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia, which makes sense why Atlanta has become what they say Black Hollywood. All of the latest movies and shows are shot here. The show Stranger Things, which has so much, you know, occult knowledge or symbolism in it, is shot here. At least for the most part of it, it began here. And that has a lot to do with the Hadron Collider and CERN. The industry, a lot of industry gatekeepers are here. When you just type in the Boule Society, Kamala Harris pops up. I didn't type her name. Diddy pops up. You can say what you want, but, a lot of these people just pop up around this term, Boule Society, right? So that's why I said this one is very deep. It's very deep. The rabbit hole is like never ending. And I'm not surprised that Kobe was a member of the Thelema Society as well. You got to think about it. You know, these people are on another level in life, y'all. They have access to things, to knowledge in these societies to be used, you know, to influence the masses. We're talking about one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Influence is still carrying on to this day, and it's going to carry on probably until none of us are here anymore. So you can understand why these people are initiated, and you know, eventually when things happen, like you get a R case planted on you, you are forced into these societies in order to, have some of this stuff dismissed. Um, if we want to believe he didn't do it or not, you know, eventually they get you, right? And it's quite surprising. Well, it's not that surprising that he talks about the Rockefeller family basically funding the early Boule society.
May 15th, 1904, it gets deeper, with Rockefeller money from John D. Rockefeller. And as a quick side note, it was John D. Rockefeller who gave his best friend, a man by the name of Cecil B. DeMille, a $100,000 check. Now, Cecil B. DeMille, the former Hollywood director, the late Cecil B. DeMille, who had a relationship with Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood. Okay, so John D. Rockefeller gave $100,000 first to Julius Rosenwald, the founder of the Sears Roebuck Company, and later through Rosenwald gave that money to Cecil B. DeMille to give to his mistress, Margaret Sanger. And to our listeners, you have to understand about the history of Margaret Sanger. She was a straight up racist, okay, who was sleeping with a 16-year-old girl at the time, right shortly before her death. Her name was Emma Goldman. Now, Emma Goldman wanted to overthrow the United States of America, and that's another topic for another day. So what I'm doing is laying the foundation, not just for Kobe Bryant, a Luciferian project completed, but most of all, the immaculate deception of history. We've been lied to. For the past 6,000 years, there have been manipulators whose sole intent was to manipulate the manipulated to remain manipulated. So we've been lied to. So the ancient foundation of the Boule Secret Society now serves as the foundation for the present Boule Secret Society. So you talk about Barack Obama, Jay-Z, who I call Gay-Z, P. Diddy, all of these people, even Louis Farrakhan is a member of Omega Sci-Fi.
All right, y'all. I think we'll go ahead and wrap this video up. This would be part 1. Let me know how y'all feel about this, especially if y'all want to see a part 2 on the Boule Society. Honestly, I probably didn't really show even 10% of that interview. Those were just some very interesting points, explaining the ancient history of the Boule, the current model of the Boule, and some of its very high profile members. Obviously it's made up of all kinds of people that you may even see walking on the street, normal people all the way up to billionaires. It's just the way it operates. But yeah, man, so y'all let me know if y'all want to see a part 2. We could get into a little bit more. There's definitely a couple more things just even from that podcast episode that we could discuss, if y'all want to see that. And y'all already know, man, with that being said, it's Black Balloon, and I'm going to see y'all soon. I'm out.